How's it going, everybody? It is the John Low Fox, and it's my show where I talk about anime, video games, cartoons, most notably Sonic and Ninja Turtles. And today, I wanted to talk about legacy heroes and the essentials. All right. So basically, I kind of composed a list of like a top five, top 10 legacy characters that I kind of wanted to talk about here on the channel and stuff. Five characters that are usually talked about a lot, that I feel like are good legacies or have a lot of potential and stuff like that. So I'll explore more of that as I go along, and then I'll probably use five other characters as examples as to how legacy characters do in fact work. Okay, so anyways, I'm gonna get into it. This is gonna be part one. I'll probably make a part two in the future with another list of characters. So let's get right into it. Legacy characters are typically successors to a former veteran hero who takes on their predecessor's task and embodies them spiritually. Usually, they are set up to follow their journey after their predecessor reaches a certain milestone in their life. Sometimes a successor can be a blood relative, or it can be someone else who is admired as a hero to the point where they just want to pick up where they left off. Like, take for example Sarada Uchiha. She's best known as the daughter of Sasuke and Sakura Uchiha. Sarada is a fast learner and she is pretty intelligent, just like her parents, as well as inheriting both of their short tempers and no tolerance. She's also a niece of Itachi Uchiha, and since Itachi had died young before reaching his full potential, we get to see that through Sarada. Sarada also has techniques her parents taught her, like medical ninjutsu, Sakura's chakra control, Sasuke's Chidori, fire style, and of course, she has her own Sharingan. And in the recent chapters of Two Blue Vortex, was that she can manipulate gravity and create black holes and stuff too. So that's pretty OP. And not only does she not only succeed her parents and her uncle, but she also succeeds Naruto as well. Her and Naruto, they may not be blood relatives and are family friends at best. And Sarda has never really trained under like Naruto, but she embodies his dreams of becoming Hokage, mainly because she likes the way that he carries himself and his point of view of seeing the village as family. Therefore, she models herself after him in contrast to how Boruto wants to be a ninja, like Sasuke. Kind of like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, where it's a series of passing the torch down generation to generation, and how the most iconic JoJo is Jotaro Kujo, and Jotaro is the third JoJo out of the nine of the characters, starting with his grandpa's grandpa Jonathan Joestar, who died young but saved the world from Dio Brando's vampire zombie army. Then his grandpa Joseph Joestar, a British American who also saved the world around World War II, where we're introduced to Jotaro, where he's a delinquent who shows no respect for authority, his mom, or even his grandpa, who's done more for the world than he has at that point. And yet, Jotaro's true colors definitely show when he puts his life on the line to save his mom, and how he interacts with other people and stuff. And I know I'm using Jotaro as an example for Sarda, and I would say probably a better example for JoJo. I think Jolene Cujo has a lot more in common with Sarda Uchiha and stuff, because Jolene, just like Sarda, although Jolene is a lot more of a delinquent and stuff, and she ended up becoming a criminal and stuff like that. Long story. Um, Also has some issues with her dad and stuff, just like Sarda with Sasuke to a degree, but at least with Sarda and Sasuke, it's kind of a little bit more squashed, and it's kind of like, okay, well, Sarda's still young, so she has more time with her dad compared to Jolene, who had a lot of resentment for her dad going up until 19 and all that. But anyways, that's just my thoughts though about Sarda, and why I think she's definitely a good legacy character for not only just Sasuke and Sakura, but even Naruto as well, and by extension Itachi if you really want to go there. So yeah, that's how I view her. Then we got Nero from Don't Make Cry, who's the nephew to the original Devil Hunter Dante and the son of his arch rival Virgil. While Dante had finished up his arc in avenging his mom by defeating the Dark Lord Undis, Don't Make Cry 2 is a continuation of his journey after that and the impact on Lucia. And Don't Make Cry 3 is basically his prequel story. So naturally, Don't Make Cry 4 and Don't Make Cry 5 would focus on Nero's progression and him learning of his family ties and legacy. When he meets Dante, his uncle, it doesn't go so cordial the first time they met, where he tries to kill him over a misunderstanding. But after realizing his motives and developing a major respect for one another, Dante allows Nero to keep the Yamato out of sentimental reasons and sets up his demon hunting business. And of course, Nero doesn't actually surpass Dante in the games, that he was introduced, not until arguably really Devil May Cry 5. Nero also has his differences from Dante and Virgil, like his double bringer being a cyborg and having shorter hair, wearing black, being a quarter demon, and settled down with his girlfriend Kyrie. And that's not just me saying that Nero is better than Dante or I'm annoyed with the handle of his character in the series. I'm just saying that if there's anyone who really needs more focus and has more room to for development, it's Nero. Much like Tekken, where the first two games was about the rivalry between Heihachi and Kazuya Mishima, the third game introduced Kazuya and Jun's son, Jin Kuzama, and Jin has the styles of both his mom, Jun, and his grandpa Heihachi, also his dad, Kazuya's Devil Gene. And after the first three games, each character had reached a certain milestone by becoming the King of the Iron Fist. So that's all I have to say there. Where I think that you can kind of do something like that with Nero, but I feel like I have my problems with the whole Mishima stuff and Tekken in general. But I'll probably go in more detail about that in another video when I talk about legacy characters and stuff. There's also characters like Deku, who is already established to be the central hero of the story, even though he's the predecessor to All Might, who has never had a series of his own that took place before My Hero Academia. Deku may not be a blood relative of All Might as well, but he's his disciple, who parallels himself when he was younger. And the series is about maturity and development into the hero that he was supposed to be, until the ending kind of dropped that ball and wanted to subvert expectations when he deserved much more credit and more of a better ending than that, but that's neither here nor there. And not only does Deku have One for All, but 7 other quirks that he has to learn. He also had to find his own kind of style of fighting in opposed to All Might's American wrestling, where he's using his shoot style, likely based off of Taekwondo, Muay Thai, or kickboxing. Much like Luke Skywalker, whose the original trilogy of movies was more about the development of his character, he was the successor of his dad, Anakin Skywalker, who some movies were released decades later. Luke grew up as a farm boy with ambitions of becoming a fighter pilot, whereas Anakin grew up enslaved and wanting to free his mom from captivity. Luke has an attachment to his planet Tatooine, whereas Anakin has no love for it. Luke wields a green lightsaber favoring the Force, whereas Anakin favors the blue lightsaber for preferring swordplay. Luke also has a solid conclusion, where he started a family and revived the Jedi Order, but this is kind of undone later to turn into a failed old hermit whose accomplishments was rendered null and void. Next up, I have the famous Boruto Uzumaki listed. Now, I know people who don't take much to him like they do with Naruto, who had a tougher life, but Boruto was about at that age where he took things for granted, he's rebelling against his dad for attention, and he was once bratty. And you need flaws to kind of grow into a character later down the line. Boruto has similarities to his dad, but also his own individuality. He likes Thunder Burgers over ramen. He doesn't want to be Hokage, just a great ninja. Boruto is more book smart than Naruto, or obvious things like, Boruto growing up with a family and Naruto growing up as an orphan. Also things like, Naruto preferring to wear orange. Boruto mostly wears dark clothing as well as pink, so yeah. However, Boruto may be Naruto's firstborn child with his standard abilities like the Rasengan, Shadow Clone Jutsu, even Sexy Jutsu. He's also not his only predecessor either. Boruto also takes after Sasuke, being the only other rival to his dad, and shares a lot more in common with him, which is on full display now that Boruto is a rogue ninja. He wears black clothing and he fights with a sword. Boruto also not just a member of the Uzumaki clan, but he's also a part of the Hyuga clan as well, and he was trained by his mom, Hinata, and their clan's taijutsu, which is the best in the village. So Boruto can do the gentle fist, air palm techniques as well, but lacks the Byakugan currently. So this makes Boruto not only the successor to Naruto, Sasuke, and Hinata, but also Heihachi, Neji, and Minato as well. And even his bloodline aside, Boruto does his own thing now. Like his Uzuo Rasengan, he has his Vanishing Rasengan, that was his own original technique that he had created. His version of the Thunder God technique, which is basically Minato's teleportation, but he's kind of like, he made his own version of it. Of course, he has the Purple Lightning, which is Kakashi's technique. After he had lost his Sharingan and he needed something as a substitute for his Lightning Blade. And then, of course, he's also a Kenjutsu user, meaning that he fights with a sword and stuff, much like, Sasuke or Zabuza or Kasame and stuff inside the Naruto series. He even uses Shadow Clone Jutsu even less now. And before that, I mean, he couldn't really summon as many as Naruto could, likely for reasons. But he's also an Onosuke vessel from Momoshiki, so a lot of his powers stems from his when he transforms. You can kind of view Naruto and Boruto as passing a torch similar to like Mega Man and Mega Man X. Mega Man was a classical hero with a Mega Buster, copy ability, and could slide. X, however, has a build it like he was built to be more agile, able to think for himself. He has a stronger X Buster, and he has different sets of armor. Mega Man has dealt with robot masters, mad scientists, and alien robots, but X has fought Mavericks, viruses, armies, and wars. Naruto has fought assassins, rogue ninjas, terrorists, wars, and alien gods, whereas Boruto has dealt with killers, rogue ninjas, but also alien gods and cyborgs, and is currently a fugitive on the run from his own village. Those are some things that separates Naruto and Boruto. And finally, we have what would have been the perfect successor to Dragon Ball, Son Gohan. Gohan is the eldest son of Son Goku and Chi Chi, and for a while was the official protagonist of Dragon Ball Z. Gohan, for the most part, is the central protagonist, or at least the deuteragonist, because most of the conflict happens around him. What do I mean by this? After rewatching the Saiyan saga a few months ago, I kind of realized that Gohan was in the center of everything while Goku was out of the picture. He was there from start to finish when the Saiyans attacked, while Goku was on his way from Snake Way or training with King Kai. He was also there since the beginning of the Namek saga, actually, while Goku was laid up. Then we kind of get to the Android and the Cell saga, which becomes more of a testament of Gohan's abilities, where his enemy is a combination of Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, Frieza, and King Cold's genetics, making up the ultimate villain at the time. And while Goku and Frieza and the androids were like the strongest fighters of the present, Cell was the strongest threat from the future. But just to recap, the series, one of the most iconic dynamics is Dragon Ball as a whole is Gohan's relationship with Piccolo. This dynamic was introduced in the Saiyan saga, and as well as Goku and King Kai's relationship. But Gohan and Piccolo's mentor-mentee relationship eclipses that, and even Goku and Master Roshi's dynamic previously before that. And since Piccolo has no living relatives or children, he instilled everything that he knows into Gohan. And this is shown where Gohan wears either purple or orange gi out of respect for Piccolo or his dad. Gohan even fights in not just Goku style and knows techniques like the Kamehameha, but Piccolo's as well, like Special Beam Cannon or Masenko. And outside of all of this, Gohan developed his own perfected forms that have surpassed the Super Saiyan transformation, like Super Saiyan 2, Mystic Form, Beast Gohan, etc. And in the end of the day, I kind of understand like Goku is usually ahead of Gohan because he trains more so than his son, but half Saiyans like Gohan, Goten, and Trunks have surpassed their parents when they were around their age. Gohan is 33 years old inside GT, and compared to Goku, who started his 30s around the Android saga, Gohan has long surpassed him. Same thing with Super, where Gohan is 23 and he has long surpassed Goku in the beginning of Dragon Ball Z. And in my personal opinion, a lot of like the arcs that Goku has gone through inside Super or Daima, all those could have been just given to just either Gohan or Goten and stuff, since they do nothing with them with half the time. That's like Metal Gear Solid, where they have an interesting character like Raiden and choose to do nothing with him except give him one game that he had. It's kind of bad enough that IDW kind of gave all of Raiden's notable wins to Solid Snake against Solidus Snake and Vamp in the Metal Gear Solid 2 comic book adaptation. So why not just focus on him than his predecessors all the time? Because people would enjoy a new Metal Gear Rising game after all this time. Naked and Solid Snake were both great characters and all who had their swan song, and now it's kind of just time to just tap into Jack the Ripper's potential. Raiden started off much like Snake, where he fights with guns, uses stealth, and he's trained by both like military legends and stuff. But Raiden became a cyborg. He fights with swords, manipulates lightning, and he became a ninja. But these are just my thoughts about a selective bunch of legacy heroes that I just wanted to talk about here. This isn't me saying that legacy heroes are better than the old ones or that every legacy character works, because not all of them work. But I'm just saying it's nice to focus on a different like character, on different characters as like take than just wash, rinse, repeat, or what works best. Because after a while, it kind of does get kind of hard to get creative with specific characters, and sometimes you just gotta challenge them either differently or just give someone else the keys to just drive. But that's how I feel about legacy characters.